he knows that the energy sector is a priority for the Gambia, and when he was here, he promised to help and to expand the cooperation of Germany with the Gambia in this area. He said that first of all, the first measure in 2 steps. Actually, the first steps we have already. We have a mission in the Gambia. It's GIZ, and GIZ is having an extensive experience in this area, 30 years of experience in the energy sector and in implementing projects. So for us it was very important that they come here, that they come back actually, and because they have been here in the past for a long time to support NAWEC in the energy sector, and for us to have an exact assessment for the way forward. And this is done now, and we are very happy that they are here. I am very happy. I did not know who is coming. You have a very high level mission here, experts who have also been here in the past. There is one member of this mission who have been here, I think 25 years ago, who formed some of those who are working for NAWEC today, and another very high expert, technical expertise who came with them. And now we are working. We will work on their recommendations, and it is an emergency measure. That means we hope that it is going very fast, and we are expecting their report in the next few days, and from there on, I think everything will go fast. So our president says that we will be back in Gambia, and I think this is a promise he made, and yeah, I'm very confident. Not tell exactly when, because these are technical details. One has to know to tell you exactly when, but it's an emergency measure. That means emergency is not next year or in 2 years. That's now, as fast as we can, and we will take the recommendations which are given to us, and as far as I have been informed already, the experts have confirmed that there is extreme emergency and some things cannot wait, because that will include the risk that the situation is even getting worse, and that we don't want, of course. So there is this emergency measures. That is step 1, and the step 2 will be then long-term development and other projects which are coming after that. But the first thing was to stabilize the situation,
which is given to our mission. And in addition to that, it's really true. It is very serious situation, and this problems have been accumulating over the years, so it's not done in the last 6 months. And I can also confirm that the people of NAWEC are very, very supporting, and so the people I have seen, I have worked with, are very competent, and they do all their best. Also we did our best to find out what is the problems and to consult. We were working up to 2 o'clock at night just to keep the things up and running. And we want to support you in this way as well, that we give you the instruments on the hand, that you can detect the faults and analyze the faults. And we may see it later at the handover of some very sophisticated German equipment, that it will help to improve, to analyze the situation. On the other hand, I do not have very good news for you, because since this is the power generation for the whole country, and we are talking about megawatts which have to be done, it's not just like your home generator, if it fails, that you put another one in place. This could be done in 1 day or something like that. But in this large scale where we have to provide megawatts of power, it needs some time of preparation, even if the funding would be there at this time. it takes time to implement it, as you can see it yourself. There's something under construction, but the people are working hard, and it takes months. So what we will do is we will try to help to stabilize the system as it is, so that it will not go worse. But however, nobody can prevent that there is a cut down of a generator and it needs a service, because all the generators are working in, those are working, they're working full power day and night, and there is no gap for any reserve, and if something is going down, you will have a power cut. However, I think we brought the instruments to have the situation going to the better side, and again, we are doing all recommendations to our government to give the best what can be given. This is also a kind that we will provide some training, that we will give some technical consultants, and also we will try to improve that the grid management, technical-wise, by having some measurements left and right and see what is going on in the grid, will be improved. This will help the people also to get the things.
Now, it is indeed, this is my pleasure to once again come over here to hear what has been going on over the past week. It must have been a very hectic week for you, but I think this is what we expected. We know Germans, when they come to do something, they have to get it done as well as possible. And this we commend you. We are all very anxious to see that we have a solution, a permanent solution to this system. I think we are guided by the initial observations that you made, that it is the system, the entire system. We're not talking about isolated generators. We're talking about the entire system that has to be overhauled, and one that has to be made good. And this is why we are very hopeful that, you know, our connection with you that has been enhanced by the German government and Anita, that we shall eventually get there. We are here really wanting to know what has actually gone, what you have actually found out, you know, over this very busy week that you've had, and what hopes we have in terms of, you know, the report that we may be expecting from you to see what our short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions would be. So here we are, anxious. We are very much to hear from you, Mr. Chair. Do we ask them to speak first, and then finally the Honourable Minister would? Okay.
Interested to know what we have done so far and what our recommendations are. So we visited the Koto power plant, the Birkema power plant. We had a look on your net, on your grid, and we found out that we should invest. So the first short-term measures should be that we will support you with some spare parts for 1 or 2 generators, we will see. Then what we have seen is that there is a lack of communication and of net control, and that we see that is a very important issue also for the future, also when more power plants will get into power, and this we see as a high priority project. And training on the job, how to do the measurements, how to read it, and find the right answers and the right actions, so that power cuts will not happen so often, and the whole net is running smoothly. That will help also that the repairing will be less at the end. Less power cuts means that the machines, the engines, will have a longer life. That will be the first step, and that is what we say under urgency, what we see under urgency. And then, if it is possible, we have also some midterm long-term measures that is related to the extension of this net control, to support you more in spare parts, and very important for us, what we see is again training on different levels. Let me say higher level for technicians, engineers, and perhaps also for like a vocational training.
We are living today, and I also thank you very much for your time in coming to the Gambia at a time that we need you most. You must have heard, of course, through media, whatever, that when the new government took over this year, we've inherited problems, and one of the problems we inherited is still the power sector, electricity. And it is the priority of the government not just to fix things for firefighting, but to look for a lasting solution. So that's why we started to assess the situation professionally to see where we are and to forge ahead and plan where we want to go and how to achieve it. This led to the development of the roadmap, the Gambia electricity roadmap. I'm sure you must have seen the copy of that. And the roadmap actually clearly defines the way forward after assessing the situation. And one of the emergency part to take action is to look at the emergency plan to see how we can deal with what we have. We know we have engines which are old, archaic, and which are not running efficiently. We know also have an institution like NAWEC, which is not in a very good shape, and we have to work on that immediately. That's why we had in the roadmap an emergency plan to see how we can at least normalize situations. We may not be able to get 24-hour electricity, but at least to be able to achieve a good part of what is existing. So among this plan is to rehabilitate our engines, which we are doing on our own, and also to see how we can reduce the pressure on NAWEC supply electricity in other parts of the country. That's why we had to go in for power import from Senegal. That's reducing power supply to the provinces. And we are also looking at also as an emergency plan, how we can get power generation to at least increase our capacity to add to what we have. Because what we have now, the engines are old, and even though there's improvement, but as you see, the situation is still fragile. So we have to look for ways and means to make sure that we are able to settle. And then we have long-term plans, where the private participation will come in to build power plants. And that also we plan to have energy mix, both renewable as well as hydropower from import from Guinea, and also thermal plants. Well, these are long-term plans. So wherever the president of the Gambia, Barrow, goes to, the first thing he talks about is energy, which is a priority. And thank God you mentioned that. You've seen that yourself. When the president of Germany came, again we had discussions, and we discussed at bilateral issues on emergency plan and also long-term plans, where German companies are invited to come and invest in the Gambia in energy sector. And there we got a pledge that Germany is going to assist us in maintaining our current existing generators. That's why you are here. At least we are very grateful that you are able to mount this mission as early as now. Immediately, the German president left. NAWEC started looking at assessing the situation, and they have already given a profile of all the engines or their problems and the spare parts needed exactly. This must have helped you a lot in your work, And thank God you came here and also found the situation, are able to see, firsthand the situation. And I'm happy that you are reporting that the situation is serious, but it's still surmountable. And we are grateful for that on behalf of the president. we say a great thanks to the President of Germany and the people of government of the people of Germany. And we also want to use the opportunity also to reiterate your findings and recommendations. One, you know, the instruments, engines are old, communication issues are there within the engine, and also here, even if you have a power short somewhere, that affects the production out there. So you can have quick blackout, but quickly the engineers will solve it. You know, still happens. If a slight power switch somewhere out of the power station can cause trigger. You know, so that is also an issue that we are facing with. But our engineers are working around the clock. You know, if you are not in the power station, you don't know how difficult matters are and how the engineers are working. But at least being an electrical engineer yourselves, you know, you've seen this situation, and also your recommendation of training, which is very key. You know, we have engineers trained in different parts of the world, but they will always need further skills development at all levels. So that is a welcoming recommendation. And also for the patients, you know, people, as you correctly said, it's not easy to solve energy problems. It's capital intensive and technologically the same thing. But we need to have the patience of the people. We are working, as you've seen, around the clock to solve the problem. But not only to solve emergency problem, but we also want to see how we can find a solution that is actually more permanent, at least to get to end this perennial problem of power cut all the time. That's what we're working on. It's a long time is to do. So that, having said that, I think I have to again thank you very much. Since we came, I've been having reports daily from my managing director, nawec, and I understand that you've been working very hard and working very late to make sure that you are exposed to every single unit that we have. You also have seen that the new engines that we are trying to come on board and all the issues around it. So it is not all bad in the sense that we are trying to get in control of the situation. But the emergency help that we are bringing in is something that we will need critically, you know, because spare parts is a problem. nawec is not a good status. So we will definitely encourage you to go back, report, and come as soon as possible with any solution that you have. Yeah, we cannot do everything in a day, but at least the expectation of Gambian people is very high, because people, electricity is not now is not luxury. Energy is now is a basic human right. Everybody should have access to energy, you know, and that is foundation. We have to get this energy to everybody in this country. Whatever it takes, we will do that. So once again, Chair, I'd like to thank you all, and also thank the press for actually coming and reporting on this important occasion. I understand you are leaving some instruments behind to nawec, which they will make in good use, and which always when you come back it can be used. And I understand also you train them also how to maintain and use this equipment. So once again, I thank you very much for that on behalf of the President of the Gambia.